Welcome back to my YouTube channel, everyone, and thank you for joining us today on this exciting journey where we dive deep into the fascinating world of rare coins, hidden treasures, and the extraordinary stories behind tiny pieces of metal that can be worth millions. And today's focus is on one particular piece of American history that has taken collectors, experts, and everyday people by storm. The 2004 1-cent coin, a penny that in certain rare conditions and under very specific circumstances has been valued at an astonishing $9 million, and while to the casual eye it may appear like just another ordinary copper-plated zinc cent, when you look closer and understand the minting process, the errors, the mistakes, and the possibilities that can occur during production, you begin to realize how something so small can become an incredible treasure. So let us begin this deep dive into what makes the 2004 1-cent coin so unique, why certain examples are commanding astronomical figures in the collector's market, and how you might be able to identify one if you are lucky enough to stumble upon such a rarity in your change or old coin collection, because when we talk about mint errors we are talking about anomalies created during the process at the US Mint where millions of coins are struck daily, and while technology has advanced significantly to reduce mistakes, accidents still happen, and those accidents create rare and desirable varieties that drive collectors into bidding wars, pushing values higher and higher. Now with the 2004 penny there are several reported and confirmed types of errors that play into its immense value, including double dies where the design elements like Lincoln's profile, the date, or the word liberty appear doubled due to a misalignment in the hubbing process. And such double die obverse or reverses are some of the most sought after errors because they are visible to the naked eye and create an almost ghostly doubling effect that collectors love. Then there are off-center strikes where the coin blank is not properly aligned within the coining press, resulting in part of the design missing and a crescent-shaped blank area on the coin, and depending on the degree of the off-center strike these can be extremely valuable, especially if the date remains fully visible because that makes the coin identifiable and thus more desirable. Another possibility lies in broad strikes where the coin is struck without the retaining collar that normally holds it in place, causing the coin to spread out wider and flatter than normal, giving it a very distinct appearance that stands out immediately to any collector. And then there are the dramatic die breaks, cuts, and cracks that happen when the steel dies themselves that stamp the design onto the coin become damaged or fractured, leaving raised metal blobs or lines on the coin that were never intended. And certain dramatic cuts can cover parts of Lincoln's head or the lettering, creating unique one-of-a-kind pieces. And when we move deeper into the 2004 cent we also encounter possibilities of wrong planchet strikes, where instead of being struck on the proper copper-plated zinc planchet, the coin might be accidentally struck on a dime planchet, nickel planchet, or even foreign coin planchets that happen to be in the minting machinery, producing a coin of the wrong size, thickness, or weight, which instantly becomes a collector's dream because these are often extremely rare. Another known error possibility involves double strikes where the coin is struck more than once either on-center or off-center, producing overlapping designs that are truly fascinating to look at. And then there are transitional errors where the wrong metal composition might have been used, and even though by 2004 cents were supposed to be copper-plated zinc, there are always chances that leftover planchets from earlier periods or testing metals might have slipped into the presses, creating composition errors that are highly prized. And let us not forget die clashes where the obverse and reverse dies strike each other without a coin in between, transferring part of the design from one die to the other, leaving ghost-like impressions of the reverse design on the obverse or vice versa, which create coins that are not only rare but extremely eye-catching. And the 2004 pennies have been found with such anomalies, making them key highlights in error coin collections. But why $9 million, you might ask? Why can a coin worth just 1 cent suddenly command such a huge value? And the answer lies not just in the rarity of the errors but also in the demand and historical significance attached to them, because the numismatic world is driven by scarcity and uniqueness, and when only a handful of such error coins exist, wealthy collectors are willing to pay staggering amounts to own them, turning ordinary pocket change into extraordinary fortune. Consider the fact that some collectors specialize only in Lincoln cents, building massive collections spanning every year, every mint mark, every known variety, and when they hear of an ultra-rare 2004 penny with a dramatic error, competition ensues, bids rise, and records are broken. And beyond that there is always the factor of condition and grading, because a 2004 penny with an error that is heavily worn might be valuable but nowhere near as valuable as one that is in pristine Uncirculated condition graded by a top grading service like PCGS or NGC, with high mint state grades like MS67, MS68, or higher, and when those high-grade error coins enter the market, that's when the millions start coming in, and some documented sales have indeed reached jaw-dropping figures, establishing the 2004 penny with rare errors as one of the modern holy grails of coin collecting. But what makes this journey even more exciting is the fact that coins like these are still out there, sitting unnoticed in jars, drawers, piggy banks, and old rolls, waiting for someone with a keen eye to discover them, because while the minting process has improved and error rates have decreased, the sheer volume of coins produced means mistakes are bound to slip through, and every time someone takes a closer look at their change they have the potential to find something life-changing, and this is why learning about the details is so important. For example, when examining a 2004 penny, you want to carefully inspect the date for doubling, check Lincoln's eye, lips, and the word liberty for signs of doubling. You want to observe the edges to see if the strike is off-center. You want to weigh the coin to confirm if it matches the standard 2.5 grams or if it is heavier or lighter, which could indicate a wrong planchet. You want to check for unusual thickness, diameter, or coloring, and you want to be aware of die cracks, cuts, and clashes that can add significant value, and it is this detective work that makes coin collecting not only a hobby but a treasure hunt, where knowledge and patience can lead to discoveries worth millions, and beyond the errors themselves there is also the historical context of 2004, because this was the year when the United States Mint was still transitioning through technological changes. The design remained the classic Lincoln Memorial reverse that had been in use since 1959, and while it might not have had the commemorative attention that coins in 2009 received for Lincoln's bicentennial, it still sits in a period of modern minting where errors became particularly interesting because collectors were becoming more attentive, coin forums and online communities were growing, and more people were beginning to understand the immense potential hidden in these tiny details. So a 2004 penny with a jaw-dropping error became not just a collector's item but a symbol of the thrill of discovery, and when wealthy collectors or investors compete for these rarities the values skyrocket, making headlines and inspiring more people to look into their change, which is why the $9 million valuation is not just a fantasy but a real representation of what happens when rarity, demand, condition, and uniqueness intersect in the numismatic marketplace, and the story of the 2004 penny continues to spread, encouraging more treasure hunters to dig into their collections, bringing new enthusiasts into the fold, and ensuring that the legend of this tiny coin lives on. Because at the end of the day what makes the 2004 1-cent coin so extraordinary is not only the tangible errors and mistakes it carries but also the possibilities, the dreams it inspires, the stories it tells, and the incredible reminder that even something as small and overlooked as a penny can hold within it the power to change someone's life forever. And as you think about that the next time you hold a 2004 penny in your hand, take a moment to look closer, to study its details, to consider its possibilities, because who knows, you might just be holding a piece of history worth $9 million.